Standing leads to splashes everywhere, but sitting gets you teased for not being manly enough. Lift the lid, aim the gun, a quick shake, and in 5 seconds, mission accomplished, because it's faster and more convenient and aligns with the habit most men developed since childhood. Standing to pee has become the default standard for many, but in recent years the tide has suddenly turned. More people are complaining that while standing might look cool, in reality the toilet seat floor cracks and pant cuffs are covered in battle scars. On one hand, there's a lifelong habit. On the other, growing hygiene anxiety when using the toilet. Should men stand or sit? Today, let's take a closer look at this business. Standing to pee isn't exclusive to men in China. This is a report surveying urination habits across 13 countries. Even in Germany, which has the highest rate of sitting down, only 40% of men do so. That means most men worldwide still prefer to stand. So, why is sitting so unpopular? For most, it's simply the way they've always done it. But is it really hygienic when you stand to pee? Where do you usually aim? Most might aim for the back of the bowl, but in reality, the area right in front of the water produces the least splash and spray, followed by aiming directly into the water. Aiming at the back is the worst. However, in every single experiment, no matter the aim, droplets splashed onto the rim, the underside of the seat and the floor. The splash zone can even extend up to 1 meter away from the toiletty. So if your toothbrush is also kept near the toilet, that's a pretty vivid and smelly image. This shows the splash pattern from standing to pee over 1 to 5 days. Sinks, toothbrushes and walls within 1 meter will all be splashed with urine. So unless you thoroughly clean the floor and walls near the toilet after every single standing pee, contact with urine is practically inevitable, even if you don't mind your own urine. If you live with others, they'll most likely find it quite unpleasant. So is sitting down to pee completely splash-free? Not quite, but the range is significantly smaller, mostly concentrated on the front rim and the underside of the seat. The difference between the two is night and day. Furthermore, when you flush the toilet after finishing your business, the high-velocity vortex also sends tiny particles and aerosols from the bowl into the air. They can be sprayed over 1 meter high into the air. Larger droplets tend to settle quickly on surrounding surfaces, but smaller particles can remain suspended for several minutes. And even if you flush with the lid down, they can still escape through the gaps, so it doesn't entirely prevent surrounding contamination. In some hotels where towels are placed directly above the toilet, it's very easy for particles from flushing and urinating to settle and stick to those towels. The best solution for now is to keep your toothbrush and towels far away from the toilet. Try to sit and pee at home and clean the toilet area regularly. But in reality, very few people clean their toilets as often as they should. These are the bathroom cleaning frequencies in the US and the UK. While most people clean once a week, there are still many who almost never clean at all. However, as we mentioned earlier, if the toilet isn't cleaned for a long time, urine splashes will accumulate, leading to an unpleasant odor over time, and it's hard for your eyes or nose to even detect them at first because it doesn't look dirty enough to the naked eye. Most men continue to choose standing up to pee. Still, most people would admit that standing is indeed less hygienic than sitting. So, why is there still such strong resistance to sitting down? Much of it has to do with our toilet culture. Public urinals have taken center stage for far too long. Growing up, every boy knows that. Recess is short. If you want more time to play, you need to finish your business as quickly as possible. Plus, we often see longer lines for the women's restroom. This only reinforces the impression that standing up is naturally more efficient and swift. Over time, it has even been forcibly linked to masculinity. Conversely, sitting down is often seen as posture meant only for number 2. Interestingly, this idea of standing as the default male posture and viewing sitting as unmanly isn't just a local phenomenon. In Germany, for instance, if you sit to pee, you might be called a Sitzpinkler, which basically means a wimp. Yet in a country that stigmatizes sitting, 40% of men actually do sit down to urinate. This postural preference has even been framed as health advice. Rumors online claim that sitting down to pee is bad for the prostate. A 2014 review specifically investigated this claim. In reality, for healthy men, whether they may stand or sit. There was no significant difference in several major urodynamic indicators. For men with lower urinary tract symptoms or prostatic hyperplasia, urinating while sitting is often even more forceful, allowing for a smoother flow and less residual urine. After all this talk, we're not saying you must sit properly every single time you use the toilet. In public restrooms, just do whatever is most convenient. When using a urinal, you can keep the impact angle at 30 degrees or less, which significantly reduces the chance of urine splashing back onto you. Much like how a dog pees against a tree or a wall, it uses a relatively shallow impact angle. This is a great way to prevent urine from bouncing back. But what about when we get home? If you want to keep your bathroom free of urine splashes, sitting down is definitely more effective in most cases. However, in special circumstances, or if you and your family aren't bothered by the splash, then you can certainly continue to stand and let it fly. Just remember to clean the bathroom as regularly as possible. Since toilets aren't yet perfectly designed for the male anatomy, the only foolproof way to prevent splashing for now is still to just sit down.